Chapter 1. Vows. Beneath the northern lights. When Lin Yiyuj walked out of Arlanda airport dragging her suitcase, a steady drizzle was falling over Stockholm. The Nordic September already carried a chill, and she instinctively pulled her trench coat tighter around herself. As she looked up at the leaden sky and unfamiliar signboards in a foreign language, a nameless loneliness crept over her. This was her first time setting foot on Swedish soil. As an outstanding graduate of Tsinghua University's computer science department, she had received an offer from Nordstrom Technologies to work as a researcher in their AI development division. Her decision was met with strong opposition from her parents. Why should a girl go so far away? Sweden is cold and unfamiliar, but Lin Yiyuj stood her ground. She longed for a breakthrough and wanted to prove herself in an entirely new environment. Dr. Lin? A clear male voice interrupted her thoughts. Lin Yiyuj turned and saw a tall blonde man holding a sign with her name on it, smiling warmly at her. He was wearing a dark blue sweater and casual jeans. His eyes were a striking Nordic ice blue, gleaming especially brightly under the rainy sky. "I'm Eric Johansson, your project partner," he introduced himself in lightly accented English, naturally taking her suitcase. "Welcome to Sweden." "Thank you. Just call me Lin Yiyuj," she replied politely, instinctively keeping a bit of distance. She noticed that unlike in China, Eric didn't shake hands on first meeting but instead directly helped with her luggage. The casual familiarity caught her a bit off guard. On the way to the company, Eric enthusiastically pointed out sights along the road and explained Swedish customs and culture. Lin Yiyuj listened quietly, occasionally nodding. The streets outside were clean and sparse, with few pedestrians, a stark contrast to the bustling streets of Beijing. "We're here." Eric parked in front of a sleek, modern glass building. "This is Nordstrom headquarters." Lin Yiyuj looked up at the gleaming building shimmering in the sunlight, her heart beating faster. This was the new beginning of her professional career. On her first day at work, Lin Yiyuj arrived half an hour early, only to find the office completely empty. It wasn't until exactly 9 o'clock that her colleagues started to show up. Even more surprising, everyone including the department had left promptly at 4 in the afternoon. "Do Swedes not work overtime?" She couldn't help asking Eric during lunch. Eric smiled and shook his head. "Work is for living, not the other way around. Unless it's an emergency, we don't use up personal time." He took a bite of his sandwich. "By the way, are you ready for tomorrow's project kickoff meeting?" Lin Yiyuj nodded and pulled out a thick stack of printed materials from her bag. "I've prepared a detailed project plan and risk assessment, plus 3 alternative proposals." Eric's eyes widened. "Wait, we usually just stick to a general direction. Details can be adjusted as we go. How is that acceptable?" Lin Yiyuj frowned. "Without a detailed plan, how do you ensure the project runs smoothly? Plans that are too rigid can actually hinder innovation." Eric shrugged. "There's an old Swedish saying, good enough is good enough." This was their first clash in work philosophy and far from the last. As the project progressed, their differences became more apparent. Lin Yiyuj preferred planning every detail in advance, while Eric thrived on improvisation. She liked solving problems on her own. He favored team discussions. She kept a strict boundary between work and personal life, while he often shared personal anecdotes during lunch. Yet it was precisely these differences that led Lin Yiyuj to appreciate Eric's way of thinking. He could always come up with creative angles she hadn't considered and diffuse team tensions with humor and ease. And Eric, in turn, was drawn to Lin Yiyuj's diligence and precision. He often invited her to dinner or weekend outings. One Friday afternoon, Eric knocked on her desk. "Got time tomorrow? I'd like to show you around the old town." Lin Yiyuj hesitated. "I was planning to prep for next week's presentation." "Work never ends," Eric winked. "You need to experience real Swedish life." The next day, Eric led Lin Yiyuj along the cobbled streets of Stockholm's old town, explaining the history of each building. Sunlight filtered through his golden lashes, casting a mosaic of light and shadow. While resting at a cafe, he suddenly asked, "Do you get homesick?" Lin Yiyuj paused, stirring her coffee. "Sometimes, especially." She hesitated. "Especially when I can't find authentic Chinese food." Eric's eyes lit up. "I know a great Chinese restaurant." He pulled out his phone to check the time. "Are you free tonight?" And so Eric began appearing more and more in Lin Yi's life. He introduced her to traditional Swedish dishes, taught her basic Swedish phrases, and brought her homemade mulled wine when she had a cold. Lin Yi taught him to use chopsticks, told him about Chinese holidays, and even cooked a full Chinese meal for his birthday. 3 months later, on a snowy night, Eric walked Lin Yi home and stopped suddenly under a street lamp. Lin Yi. His voice trembled slightly. I think I'm in love with you. Snowflakes landed on Lin Yi's lashes, and her heart pounded like a drum. Rationally, she knew this was risky cultural differences, parental opposition, uncertainty about the future. But looking into Eric's sincere blue eyes, she couldn't bring herself to say no. I need time to think, she finally said softly. Eric didn't give up. He respected her hesitation but continued to express his feelings in countless ways. Chinese tea mysteriously appearing on her desk, a Chinese learning app on his phone, even starting to study traditional Chinese culture. The turning point came during the New Year holiday. Eric invited Lin Yi to Kiruna to see the Northern Lights. Northern Lights? It was the first time Lin Yi showed real excitement. In Swedish culture, the aurora symbolizes a new beginning. Eric said gently, I want to witness it with you, in a glass room at the Ice Hotel. As the brilliant green lights danced like silk across the night sky, Eric gently held Lin Yi's hand. Did you know? The Sami people believe the Northern Lights are the spirits of departed loved ones dancing in the sky. Right now, I feel like my grandmother is blessing us too. Staring at the ever-changing sky, Lin Yi finally understood what it meant to be moved. She turned to Eric and kissed him. After returning to Stockholm, the two officially began their relationship. But when Lin Yi told her parents over video call, they reacted strongly. How can you trust a foreigner? Her father slammed the table. Your lifestyles, values are all different. You'll suffer. Her mother wept. I'm not against love. I just don't want you to get hurt. We're so far away, we wouldn't even be able to help you. Lin Yi silently shed tears but couldn't refute her parents' worries. She and Eric did have many differences, from eating habits to spending philosophies, social styles to life plans. But every time she wavered, Eric gave her strength. We can learn about each other's cultures slowly, he said, holding her hand. What matters is that we love each other and are willing to change for one another. A year later, Eric proposed to Lin Yi at the airport where they first met, and she said yes. They decided to have a simple wedding in Sweden, followed by a traditional Chinese ceremony back home.